Are you tired of the same old pro wrestling? Then check out the amazing action on Powerslam.tv, the biggest indie pro wrestling channel in the world. Get over 3,000 hours of the best pro wrestling events from over 100 of the biggest names in the industry from over 15 countries around the globe. Get your free trial today at Powerslam.tv.
The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
Welcome to Wilfred Watches Podcast. Thank you for joining on the live stream. If you're here in the chats, we are going to go through a special award show today. An award show that is brought to you by the fans and listeners of the show. I have my good friend Robert at the Beam on the line with me today. Hey, Robert.
Hey, how's it going today?
It's going very well, my friend. Thank you for joining. I have not told Robert the results of these fan results, so I can't wait to get his opinions. But before we do that, as I said, we're in the YouTube. We're on the Twitter. Please share with your friends if you want to have more people in the chat with yourselves. So thank you guys for joining. First of all, I want to say thank you. We are also now... This episode is being recorded and sent out on the airwaves by way of the Social Suplex Network. So big thanks to Jeremy and Rich and all the guys over there for including me in the Social Suplex team. So thank you guys. You can find Wilfred Watches now on that feed as well. Some hashtag markout mentions before we get into the action. I want to say hey to at Kevin C Wrestling and at Do It With Flair on. Both of those two bloggers had me on the past week and did a print version of an interview. So I got to talk about why I love podcasting and wrestling. It's fantastic. Check them out. I want to say hey to the patrons who have supported me in this first launch week. Anthony from Smart to Death, John, who's in the chat, Courtney, and Archie. Thank you so much for participating. Another quick hashtag markout mention before we get going to at BowlingJD on the Red Leaf Retrocast and at Foul_original. Two people who have given me shout outs on their show, so thank you. They've got some cool YouTube and audio presentations out there for you. And of course, Mr. Warren Hayes, thank you for joining with me on the Kings of Chat Style we did this past weekend. We had guest Laura Morrow from Diva Dirt and BJ Mendelson, so that was lots of fun. So just wanted to get those thanks out of the way. So here's what we did, Robert. I did a survey, and this podcast is still in its infancy. We started about 5 months ago. You had a big part, Robert, in the Fights of the Round Table, where we spoke about women's wrestling, and we had a male version of an episode, and the second part was a female version, which I think was lots of fun. So if you guys want to go back and listen to Robert's and myself and John and Amy and Jen on that, please check it out on the archives. So we're going to go through what the best, the worst, and all that good stuff is for New Japan Pro Wrestling this year and see what you guys voted for throughout the last couple of months. We had, let's see, we had over 170 results. So thank you guys for actually voting and participating. It's very exciting. And since Robert doesn't know the answers and the answers to who won these, I'm going to also ask him for his thoughts on what he thinks is the best and the worst of 2018. So, what's up to Old Apples on Periscope? Thank you for joining from the United Kingdom, buddy. So we're going to kick it off from the very bottom. Last option here. You ready, Robert?
I am ready.
Awesome, man. I can't wait to hear your thoughts. You always have some very, very insightful opinions and perspectives, so thanks for hanging out with me, man. We're going to start with the events of the year. I gave an option on all of these to write in something. So on some of these categories, you're going to have some write-ins. But the events of the year, I put up 4 options. We had Wrestle Kingdom 12, that kicked off the whole year. The G1 Climax Tournament. New Japan's Dominion. And the Best of the Super Juniors. Robert, real quick, what was your personal favorite event of 2018?
I voted for Best of the Super Juniors, and maybe that was more of a sentimental pick just because of what happened to Hiromu after it.
Oh, yeah.
I just think the match quality was really, really good, and they don't get enough publicity, so in my opinion, it's, that's why I made my vote the way I did. Probably the best one overall probably could have been. See, the G1 this year was good to me, but I don't think it was great. I think Wrestle Kingdom really to me probably would have been number 1, but I did vote for Best of the Super Juniors.
I think that's a really fair point, though. I mean, with so much that happened this year. I mean, it's just been a crazy 2018 that it's easy to overlook the Super Juniors, the junior heavyweights, especially with the injury. It's been a very tough year to follow, but there were some fantastic matches over the year. So I think that's a totally fair assessment. Are you ready, Robert, to
I am ready
to hear what you guys, the listener, voted?
Let's see what they said.
Just to build up to some anticipation, just want to say hey to Candy Floss. I love Candy Floss. She's from the UK. She's awesome. She's getting some airwave time on NXT UK. She's a fantastic pro wrestler. Anyways, so here we go. With 54 votes, Dominion was voted as the best event of the year. Second place was G1 Climax with 39. Wrestle Kingdom was third, voted by you guys. 35 votes. And Best of the Super Juniors finished with 10 votes. So I think that this has to do with time. Wrestle Kingdom 12 seems like a really long time away. So I am thinking that I think time, what's more fresh in our heads, might have something to do with that. What do you think about that? Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair, but it also the Kenny Omega effect.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's very hard when there was, potentially match of the year decided right then and there, and it's what people remember, like you said right now. Am I surprised Wrestle Kingdom wasn't second? Yeah, probably, because the G1 was really, really good, but there were individuals that were really good in the G1. The G1 as a whole, there were some peaks and valleys to it. But that's an opinion.
Yeah, that's fair. That's totally fair. I think the G1 Climax was superb, and it had a lot to match up with the past couple of years, but I think that it did really well with building some new names and really cementing Jay White as definitely on that top level. I think it did a lot of great things. I had lots of fun waking up often. Not to mention all the fantastic English commentary we got on every single show, which was a really big accomplishment as a fan to have.
Yes.
So
unlike the World Tag League.
Yeah. Well, it's never really had full English commentary before, but we did get to hear Excalibur, which is a very cool sign of times to come, I think. So, yeah, it does feel like Wrestle Kingdom was a very long time ago. The Wrestle Hub, thanks for stopping by and jumping in the chat. But the next category is going to be Young Lion of the Year. We had I spoke with my friend Archie when I was putting this together, and I said, do I include those on Excursion? Well, it turns out that didn't even really matter, because the runaway winner with the biggest disparity in votes was Shota Umino with 79 votes. Just blew everyone out of the water. Shota is your Young Lion of the Year. Robert, was he your Young Lion of the Year? We had Oka, Hirai Kawato, Suji, Ren Narita in there. Anybody else that you would put in the top of that list?
Shoto was probably because of the fact that he was showcased enough in the Young Lion matches. Mm-hmm. I think Ren Narita has had the biggest growth as a Young Lion this year. I think his ability in the ring, how he acts in the ring, his interviews, that's all accelerated forward. But the fans are probably right as far as who the best one was for the year, because from the start to the end, Shoto was the best.
It's hard to kind of it's hard to vote on these because these guys are growing so quickly and developing at different speeds sometimes, but most of the time they're growing very quickly, and to the extent that Shota was actually in the World Tag League, so that's a great growth he's had. I think I voted one time just to kick off the survey, and I think I voted for Oka because I'm a huge fan of even the Great Okarn character. I'm really liking that, and I hope that comes to New Japan. I know some people are kind of iffy about it, but I'm a big fan of Oka. So Oka actually finished third, the Great Okarn, with 20 votes. Second was a young man who's over in Mexico right now, was Kawato. And let's see, Ren Narita got 8 votes, Yumura got 7, and Tsuji with 4 votes. No write-ins there, so Shota Umino, the clear runaway for the Young Lion of the Year. If anybody has some rebuttal to that in the chat, please feel free to let us know what you guys think. Who had the best event, best Young Lion. If you didn't get a chance to vote, you can vote right now in the chat and say what's up. All right, this one, Robert, I don't know how your hair level is because you got the enforcers on your Twitter profile picture, and
yes, I do.
So I don't know how much hair you personally have, but this one is the Tanahashi Hair Lifetime Achievement Award. You saw the categories. I think you said you voted a while back. Who's your personal hair achievement award for Robert's thoughts?
I don't know. Me personally, I'm a big fan of Juice. I just like the fact of the dreadlocks, and then there are some days he rubber bands it up. Some days he doesn't. He just has a lot of fun with it. It's a lot of work to keep dreads.
Very cool. Yeah,
a lot.
That's a very strong point. But not everybody agreed with you on that. The overwhelming winner. I wouldn't say overwhelming, but it was pretty close at the end, actually. Sonata is your Tanahashi Hair Lifetime Achievement Award. Sonata has won this. Second place was Kota Ibushi, who made a late run in the votes. I was looking at this every few weeks, and Sonata was cleaning house until I don't know what happened, but Kota Ibushi made a very late run in this. Evil finished third. Hangman Page on 17. I know that some ladies are going to be very disappointed with that, some men as well. Suzuki and Naito tied on 13 votes. So, obviously, the data says Suzuki's hair is just as good as Naito. So there's your shocking results of the first one of the day. Juice came up with 12, and 4 people wrote in for Jay White. I thought that was interesting.
Jay White's got some good hair, I admit that. The people that voted for Sonata, it's funny. His hair gets talked about more than he talks.
He does. That's absolutely true. Oh, wow, that's a good one. But 100% true. Now, we're going to get into the next group, and we're going to just keep trucking along, guys. So thanks for joining in the chat room and listening. I appreciate it. Next one is the heartthrob of the year. I think I picked Sonata personally. And even though he just won the hair, he did not win the heartthrob category. Robert, who's your heartthrob of the year out of the people that we have on here? And let me just read them off before you give your answer. Hiroshi Tanahashi, Ace of the Universe. Sho, Adam Page, Kota Ibushi, Sonata, and Yano Toru. Who's your guy? Who is your heartthrob? Who makes your heart skip a beat, Robert?
I kind of agree with you. Sonata just has that, when he dresses in a suit.
Oh, Jesus.
He, demands your attention.
He really just oozes charisma, even though he doesn't speak very often. He just has a very Ric Flair persona, like a much quieter, darker, goth Ric Flair, where he just kind of oozes wealth and sexual whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think I voted for Sonata, but the winner with 44 votes was Kota Ibushi, heartthrob of the year, beating out Sonata in second by 20 votes, so a strong victory. Hangman Page did very well with 23 votes. I'm a little disappointed Yano Toru came in last on 9 votes. A little sad about that, but that's okay. To each their own. I'm pretty sure some of those votes for Yano came from Mr. Warren Hayes himself. So anyways, very cool stuff, guys. Very strong Kota Ibushi run. So he's beautiful, but he doesn't have the best hair. That's what the data says. So let me just hit up a couple of retweets. I'm sorry to do it with Flair on. She's saying that she's going to be sad if Hangman Page doesn't win the hair. Well, I'm very sorry. It was Sonata's year, and we'll have to vote more next year with Flair on Becca. Yes.
My question, I have 2 people that weren't on that poll. Did nobody voted for Will Ospreay?
I'm going to look in the write-in section for the, who are we talking about? The heartthrob? Let me take a look at, we did get quite a few write-ins, I will say. But I'm only going to make a note of it if they actually accumulated a couple of... Because there were some jackass, comments on it.
Okay. So, like Naito, maybe Will Ospreay?
We got 2 Jay Whites.
Okay.
We got... I'm probably... And these are anonymous, but I'm pretty sure John in the chat picked Sexy Chucky T. I'm pretty sure about that. We got a Shingo.
Shingo.
We got a Kenny... We got 2 Kennys, 2 Jay Whites, 1 Naito right in. That's only 1, and then 1 Cody. I don't know if that's a joke or rib, but yeah, those are the write-ins. What's up, Johnny Jett on Periscope? Thanks for joining, man. So we have now advanced to the most underrated wrestler of the year. John just replying on the chat to my Chucky T comment saying F out of here. So you've been exposed with your Chucky T love, bud. So underrated wrestler of the year. This is always a very interesting one with award shows and websites. Here's the picks that I put out there. I put Hiroki Goto. I think I picked Goto. Tama Tonga. I put the tag team of Conor Morrow and Desperado. Taichi and Cody were the picks I had. Now, out of those picks, or I don't know if you have somebody else, Robert, in mind, who has been underrated the most in 2018?
Can we reach out to our fan community and say Chuck E. T? No, I'm kidding.
No,
It's funny, in an opinion, that you have a lot of good people on there, and people aren't respecting what Despy and Kanemaru are doing with those junior tag team belts.
Exactly. I know. That's why I put them in there.
They have. If you just listen to them speak afterwards about, we're going to do this and we're going to do that and this other thing, they constantly hype their matches, and they do the right thing as far as, like what happened with the Wrestle Tag League. They're like, you're going to mess with Suzuki Gun, you're going to get all of us. And it's those kind of subtle things, and the way I really like how they play the true heel role. Between the alcohol and Despy pulling out every trick in the book. You can't argue with their success. And yeah, they're not appreciated because half the time they didn't even get main events in the Super Junior Tag Team Tournament.
I'm not going to lie, I was going to put only singles competitors, but when I thought about putting this together, I thought the exact same thing you did, and I said, they're not getting enough credit. And I wanted to see if other people thought the same. I want to just add to your point real quick. They've held those titles for 275 days plus.
Wow.
Incredible.
No doubt.
That's crazy. So yeah, let's take a look. Hey Flame 286, thanks for jumping in the chat, Miriam. Appreciate it. So underrated wrestler of the year. Now this one was a little closer. Very split opinions. We'll start at the bottom this time. We had an overwhelming write-in response for Tomohiro Ishii, who had 6 write-ins. So that's a very substantial amount of people who commented to add Ishii. Next up the ladder is Taichi. Got 17 votes. Now, all these votes were very close, so everybody does feel it's very split opinion. So Taichi, Tamatonga with 1 more vote at 18, Cody with 23 votes. People thought Cody was pretty underrated, which I found shocking. Kanemaru and Despy finished second on 28 votes, and Hiroki Goto is your most underrated wrestler of the year on 30 votes. I'm going to tell you, I wasn't massively surprised, but I was surprised at how close Suzuki-gun was, actually.
I think, and I know we're going to talk about this later, but if you look at the Wrestle Kingdom card, a little foreshadowing.
Sure.
There is only 3 of Suzuki-gun in Wrestle Kingdom as of right now. The tag team and Zack Sabre Jr.
That's mad.
Guys,
and then Zack Sabre Jr. is not even in a New Japan match. He's in a Rev Pro World Title match. I mean, I don't know if you look into that, but that's shocking. Yeah.
It seems like, again, now, I know they've had their problems in the past with New Japan management, but Taichi had a point when he said at the end of it, said, why is New Japan constantly out to screw Suzuki-gun? I don't know.
And with some of the backstage comments that Taichi has been making in the past few events, he's also been vocal about his disappointment with the upper management. So I wonder how much of that is actually truth bleeding into the promo. Could have a point there. Fascinated to see what you guys think about Suzuki-gun and then being slighted. So yeah, let's get to somebody. Now this is really a wild group. This is most overrated of the year. These are people who have been given too much and they haven't really totally earned it in your eyes. We had these names that I chose, I put in there. I put in Kenny Omega, Jay White, God, who I selfishly picked. I think they're a little overrated. I'm sorry. Chris Jericho, which I thought would be an overwhelming win. Kushida and Tetsuya Naito. Now, out of those, the highest level of write-ins was Michael Elgin with 3 votes, which I thought was interesting. The last, we'll start at the bottom. Kushida with 14 votes, Tetsuya Naito with 16, Chris Jericho on 18 votes, Switchblade Jay White with 23, God on 24, and Kenny Omega on 25 votes is the most overrated wrestler in New Japan Pro Wrestling as voted by you guys. Robert, what do you think?
I have no problems with that. I think if you've enjoyed New Japan Wrestling for years, you can understand why people would say Kenny Omega's overrated. Mm-hmm. If you're a current New Japan Wrestling fan, you'd go, why? He's the champion, he's doing this, that, and other thing, but in his case, it's a matter of you love him or hate him. You've said this to me before. So it's not surprising that he draws the top seed. I'm going to hedge you a little bit with God. They've been around for quite a while, and they've dealt with a lot of the ups and downs of New Japan, mm-hmm. and yet still maintained who they are. And, yeah, are they the most technical tag team in the world? No. Are they the most physical tag team in the world? No. But all I know is when you can get someone in commentary to yell your finisher at the top of your lungs while doing commentary, mm-hmm. you're doing something right. When Rocky yells ape shit
yeah.
at the top of his lungs, mm-hmm. They're doing something right. Now, granted, it's not perfect, but still,
that's fair.
It's just an opinion. Like I said, I tend to like them only because they say it like it is.
Mm-hmm. They do.
So that's kind of my thing, and that's why I like that. But
no, that's totally fair, man. I just want to say we did have a write-in for Taichi. We got 2 Young Bucks write-ins who were overrated, and one for Goto, which I don't know. I find that fascinating. But Kenny Omega, you guys have voted, is the most overrated wrestler of the year, which I think is kind of fair based on popular opinion on the internet these days. Now, next was the match of the year. The matches that I put in here were some of the big ones, of course, and I'm just going to get straight to the winner because it was a landslide. Absolute landslide. Because the most overrated wrestler in your eyes, Kenny Omega versus Kazuchika Okada at Dominion, absolutely ran away with this with 86 votes. Coming in second, a very distant second, was Ibushi versus Ishii. A very distant third was Tanahashi and Ibushi in the G1 Climax final. Robert, do you agree that Okada Omega was the best match of the year?
Probably. I really enjoyed. I think the match was made great because of the fact that it was a moment in time. It was the longest reign coming to an end, and it was a new champion stepping up to the forefront. And of course, it went 17 hours and 72 minutes. Okada does an unbelievable job of telling a story in the ring.
Oh, he certainly does.
Which is, and it's nothing against Kenny Omega. He's a phenomenal wrestler. Can do things that most humans wish they could do.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that was his moment, and Okada did everything he could to make that moment bigger, which is why the overwhelming majority voted for that match.
I'll tell you that we had 3 write-ins for something that you had spoken about earlier for events of the year. We had 3 write-ins for the Super Junior final, Takahashi and Taiji. So people did recognize the juniors in small numbers, but it was definitely recognized. They got more votes than Okada versus Naito at Wrestle Kingdom 12 main events. So I think that, again, happens to do with the time. Because, no offense to Hiromu and Taichi, I definitely think Okada and Naito was a better match. But again, it happened almost a whole year ago, so that's a long time from now. So Okada, Omega, Dominion absolutely dominated that one. No question about it. Next up, we're going to talk about the tag division. And I've combined the junior and the heavyweight together, which I think is totally viable, actually, in real life, too. Robert, do you think that's fair?
I think it's brilliant on your part, because one of the great things that you get to see, especially in the 8-man matches that they have, or the 6-man matches, is you have the heavyweights and you have the heavyweights and the juniors battling against each other. I mean, we just saw it with the whole Dream Team scenario versus Jay White and Gato and forgetting his name now, Bone Soldier and Ishimori, and it's great to see those kind of contrasts, because they show you what they have to do to take down the bigger person, and then when the bigger person makes their moves, how much they sell it for it. And it's good to me. I personally would like them together, but they won't do that because the Super Juniors are just that.
Who would you pick? I had put 5 teams on the survey. I put Roppongi 3K, Young Bucks, Desperado Kanemaru, GOD, and Sonata and Evil. This was actually put together before the World Tag League, so I don't know if a lot of people... if I would have put it out this week, maybe we had a more Sonata Evil. But regardless, who is your tag team of the year?
Okay, my tag team of the year was Sonata and Evil, only because even beyond the normal matches that they had, they've gone out. They did the job against the Bucks. They have constantly stayed together, whether it's 6-man tag, 8-man tag, and of course now what they did in the World Tag League was phenomenal. They're not my personal favorite tag team. My personal favorite tag team got screwed, but that's not the point. They still...
Are you referring to GOD?
No.
Okay.
I'm referring to another 3-letter team.
KES?
You bet.
Okay.
Davey Boy Smith.
Yeah.
If you follow his Twitter and watch the training he does, the man can do moves at 6'6".
He shouldn't be able.
No. And it's not like how Michael Elgin does it or Jeff Cobb does it. He actually does it fluid. It's all fluid. And that's the difference. And he puts up these training things that he does, and he's nuts. I mean, it's like, who can do this? And he's just like, oh yeah, I spent an afternoon working on this, and this. It's like, and then Lance Archer as a character, is great, and that's why I like him personally. But do I think Sonata and Evil deserve it? Yeah, they do, just because of how they started the year, how they've been consistent through the year, and how they finished it.
Okay, that's totally fair. The voters, people who took the survey, thought a little differently. And before we went on air, I told you a little hint that this was very elite heavy. And the Young Bucks really kind of ran away with this. And that's questionable to me because in an amount of matches and tournaments that they had this year, it wasn't as profound as previous years, even though they did win the heavyweight titles this year. So Young Bucks won with 56 votes. Second place was Roppongi 3K on 23. El Desperado and Kanemaru was on 22 votes. And surprisingly enough, the tag team champions, GOD, finished on 16 votes in fourth. Sonata Evil in fifth. And we have to mention 3 people wrote in for Golden Lovers, which did have a very special few matches throughout the year. But Young Bucks, best tag of the year. And we had juniors filling out the second and third place. And not enough in the write-ins to really say anything different. We just had those 3 Golden Lover choices. No other names were even mentioned. So Young Bucks. I don't personally agree, but I can see why people would think that.
They've transitioned to heavyweights.
Mm-hmm.
They won the title the first chance they had to do it. This could also be a sympathy vote. Sympathy vote.
Yeah.
Because they're not coming back. So
yeah, that's what it looks like.
Wrestle Kingdom will probably be their last match. So yeah, I can understand people voting for them.
Guys, so far, I just want to say thanks for voting. First of all, everybody who took part in it. Absolutely just shocked at how many folks jumped in and voted. Almost 200 results. I was just amazed at that. Also, I want to say, guys, if you're in the YouTube right now, please hit the like button and subscribe if you're not subscribing already. That definitely helps out. And subscribe to Wilfred Watches podcast so you get the audio version of this. And I'll also be on the Social Suplex feed starting today once I get this uploaded after we chat. So just some quick plugs. And of course, Robert, I don't know if you have the YouTube up, but I have your handle on the screen the whole show. So
thank you.
Yeah, of course. It's right there at the beam, right there next to my face. So please follow Robert as well. Very, very cool things coming up in the future. So let's get to the second to last category, and it's the Junior of the Year. Now, I only put 4 names in the pick, but we did have some write-ins as well. Who's your Junior of the Year?
Well, in my case, it's Hiromu. Because it's because of the fact of what he's done, how he won the Best of Super Juniors, how his character has played out. Yeah, the injury's kind of a sympathy thing too, but he's a phenomenal wrestler. Hopefully he comes back. You never know.
I mean, he wasn't just hot. He was like a supernova, man. Like, it was like a galactic rise and support that he had. It's I think that if he shows up at Wrestle Kingdom in a capacity where it's even by video, or if he shows up and says, "Hi, I'm okay," with the crutch or something, like Shibata had done previously, I think that the Tokyo Dome might just fly off into space. Like I can't possibly imagine the reception that would that this would have. So we'll see. We have gotten more. Interaction with Hiromu. With the art and the drawings that he's had. He's getting some merch out. I don't know if you guys saw online in the YouTube chat, but he had the cakes. He had like his artwork and stuff. And then, of course, he had that giant mural of all the characters of New Japan. So he's definitely keeping fresh in our minds, thank gosh. And I hope that he's going to recover sooner than later. I think him showing up in any capacity at Wrestle Kingdom could absolutely blow the roof off. So let's go through the results. Now, the people that I chose to put in here was Marty Scurll, Will Ospreay, Hiromu Takahashi, and Kushida. In last place, And let me just real quick, we did get a write-in for El Desperado. We got a write-in for Chris Sabin. And then we got one for Zack Sabre. I don't really know if he would really classify. But finishing in last was Kushida. The current champion finished on 16 votes. Third was Marty Scurll on 18. So Marty Scurll actually finished above Kushida in the votes, which I was shocked at. Honestly, I want to say that I did pick. I think I picked Will Ospreay just based on the entire year. I think it was easy to pick Hiromu, but over the span of the entire year, I think Ospreay was the better junior. That's where I went. Second place, and this was very tight between second and first. Second was Hiromu Takahashi, finishing on 48 votes. So it was very, very neck and neck. But your junior of the year was Will Ospreay on 52 votes. Only a 4-vote difference on the juniors. So that's a very, very close margin. Robert just had to step away real quick. So here we're going to jump into the Wrestler of the Year. This is what it all comes down to. Now, I put these names in thinking that they had the most accomplishments. They were the top guys this year, the best individuals. The names I put in the hat, and of course you could write in as well, and we definitely had a lot of write-ins for somebody in particular. Kazuchika Okada, longest reigning heavyweight champion of our time. Kenny Omega, Switchblade Jay White, Tetsuya Naito, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Chris Jericho. I had to put Jericho in, but it backfired, which is totally fine. It's Will Ospreay, Darren, not Wilf. That's my code name. All right, so first of all, I want to get to the write-ins, because we had a couple of write-ins, and we did have Ibushi I want to say we had 3 Ibushi picks, so not enough to really register. I'm sorry, he had 5. Jericho had 6 votes, so 5 for Ibushi, 6 for Jericho, which is a little surprising. And then the next person in this was a write-in. Anybody want to guess in the chat who wrote in 7 votes for this next person? Well, I'll tell you. Tomohiro Ishii got 7 votes written in, so a strong showing for him. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The longest reigning heavyweight champion of our time and balloon guy, Kazuchika Okada, only got 10 votes for the Wrestler of the Year, which was very surprising to me. I thought remembering what he did at the first half of the year would still be fresh in your heads a little bit because it was so monumental. But you weren't thinking about that when you voted, so that's totally fine. But Kazuchika Okada, 10 votes. Tetsuya Naito, who hasn't had the best year, finished on 11 votes. Hiroshi Tanahashi, who had a great second half of the year, I'd say, on 12 votes. Second place was Switchblade Jay White. Very surprising. He finished on 18. But here we go. The clear runaway winner of this category, as voted by you guys. Not only is he the most overrated, but he's also your Wrestler of the Year. And that's Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega is your most overrated and your best wrestler. So I found that highly fascinating, that his perception and his presence from our point of view was that Kenny is so... I'm shocked that Kenny's this divisive and this opinionated. How people can think that he is the most overrated and the best wrestler. I'll be honest, I do believe I picked Okada just over the span of the year. But I thought it would be a lot closer. I genuinely thought it would be a lot closer. But I'm going to go through the winners again real quick. And we'll kind of wrap things up here. The event of the year, Dominion. So if you haven't got a chance to go watch all of Dominion, apparently that is your event of the year. Shota Umino is your top young lion of the year. Tanahashi Hair Lifetime Achievement Award, Sonata. Heartthrob, Ibushi. Most underrated wrestler was Hiroki Goto. Most overrated, Kenny Omega. Match of the year was Okada Omega in a landslide at Dominion. Tag team of the year, Young Bucks. Junior is Will Ospreay, just narrowly beating out Hiromu. And your wrestler and overrated is Kenny Omega. So you guys picked a lot of people who might not be there next year. So I'm fascinated to see what those that side of the fandom think about that. It's as Miriam says on the Periscope, there is such a big split in New Japan fans right now, and there is, and it's really wild. It's really wild how this group of people who are trying to change the world, which we still don't really understand what that means, is really causing a lot of division with the Twitter world and the online world of quick action and quick impulsive opinions. So it's fascinating. 2019's right around the corner. Wrestle Kingdom's around the corner. We got the majority of the card laid out for us now. I think Robert had to go for an emergency. He was just messaging me. So we'll have to wait and get his thoughts about Wrestle Kingdom a little bit later. I will say that Okada will be on the road to Tokyo Dome where he takes on... And this is on the 14th at Korakuen Hall on a Friday. Kazuchika Okada will get his hands on Gato, and I'm very interested to see how that's going to end. I'm sure it's going to be a kerfuffle. It's going to be a lot of mayhem. But Okada takes on Gato. That's going to be an interesting little match. We'll go ahead and wrap it up here. We have a contest coming up. So just recently, the Damn Implications Twitter won a shirt for predicting the World Tag League with the most correct answers. So I shipped off a shirt to him in the United Kingdom. So he's going to get a new Wilfred Watches t-shirt in red, which is on the Spreadshirt website. So I can't wait for him to get that. He is the Gato of the month. We'll have another contest soon with TNTF Podcast, my friend Daniel over there. We are going to have a prediction contest. I've made the form. I'm just waiting for the 6-man gauntlet match to be announced. Then I'll finalize it and send it out to you guys. We're going to be giving away a New Japan Pro Wrestling towel that he picked up while he was in Tokyo at the New Japan store. And we'll also be giving away a Kenny Omega keychain that he picked up from the New Japan Pro Wrestling official store down in Tokyo. So those are the giveaways. Of course, we'll throw in some stickers and cool stuff with that. That's going to wrap it up here. Follow me at Wilfred Watches on Twitter. Follow me on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. We will have a preview show later this month for the Wrestle Kingdom, so we'll cover it in depth with a couple of friends of mine, including Daniel, including John. This Saturday's episode, we're going to have Matt Charlton on. He is the artist of the Eggshells book. Of course, his brother Chris Charlton, you'll know from the commentary table and all of the English translation he does. His brother Matt will be on the show. He does some phenomenal artwork, and he may just have something for us in a giveaway that we could do next year. So he's going to be coming on this weekend. I can't wait to speak to him. Let's see what else. We have the Patreon set up, so if you guys want to support, just as John, Courtney, Archie, and Anthony have done, patreon.com/WilfredWatches if you'd like to support on even a more personal level. I have been adding some posts more recently to give my thoughts about the whole product and the world. So check that out. And follow Robert. He had to go. I'm sorry about that. But follow him at The Beam and myself at Wilfred Watches. And thank you guys, Darren, the Wrestle Hub, Miriam, John, everybody, for joining in the chats. It was lots of fun. Have a great evening, guys. Bye.